Alabama watching guys come and go in the transfer portal. We're going to get into that. You got the Mullet toss down in Perdido Key, and Alabama coaches making a swing around the state to try to raise money for NIL. We'll get into that. And the NFL draft. We'll talk about that as well. Thanks for hanging out with us here for Elephant in the Room, part of Roll Tide Pods and Disrupt the Media with Jay Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. And we're brought to you by none other than Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. Go there when you need help making your picks. Make those picks that count. Do it at lanceslock.com. Lance has got you covered on, an array of sports, which right now includes Major League Baseball and NBA basketball playoffs. And we're presented by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code next round right there for 50% off, at least up to 50% off on $1,000, that initial wager. So you can do that there. All right, there he is, taking care of business at his office. Got the Cotton Bowl trophy behind him, the real heavy Cotton Bowl trophy. It's Jake Coker. What's up, dude?
Man, it's been too long. Well, I guess we missed one last week, right?
No, I've missed hanging out with you, though, buddy.
I know. I got to come back into the man cave.
I know. Cold beers in here.
Oh.
I was going to buy oranges today, too, for you.
Yeah, the dry podcasts aren't as fun.
No. It's like the whole work thing getting in the way of our fun.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, look, man, last time we got together, we had the Roback draft, and that was fun. And then now I've gotten to wear some of my Roback gear. And I've seen other people wearing it too. And one guy was like, "Hey, you got a code?" I was like, "Yeah, it's book 20." He's like, "Yeah, I'm buying." He's like, "I gotta buy some more stuff." So anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm going to leave that up on the screen, but let's get into it right off the bat.
Well, hey, before we get into it, so we're this will parlay into that, but this weekend, Alabama Mullet toss. I was playing golf with Paul Register, one of the Alabama affiliates, you might call him, and he told me that Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, Coach DeBoer, Coach Oates, Jalen Milroe, Grant Nelson, I think Malachi Moore, they're coming to the Mullet toss, throwing at 10:30, and I'm going to go out there and join them. But you're out of your mind if you don't think I'm going to go ask Jalen to send me his promo code, the old free one to Roback.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first bundle, but you can't have too many collared shirts.
Yeah, right.
And they fit better than any collared shirt I have. I mean, it's better than I'd buy a Roback collared shirt over a Peter Millar shirt right now. They just fit perfectly. They're great.
Yeah.
Great golf shirt, too.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. It's hard to find a shirt that fits well, that's flexible enough on a golf course.
Yeah. I love them. I mean, I wore the Henley yesterday, and it looked great.
Yeah.
And it felt great, too. It was just kind of like this weather where it gets a little cold. Not cold, but it just gets chillier at night,
Oh, yeah. When I played golf the other day with Paul, Freddie Roach was out there. He was playing as well, and he was talking about Roback shirts, and I was like, dude, what size do you wear? I don't know how his arms don't fit into his shirts. It's the biggest human being I've ever seen. He's a jacked 305.
So what does that work out as?
Huh?
What is that, like a double X just because his arms?
I don't know. I mean, I was feeling bad for his shirts.
The material got stretched a little bit.
Hanging on, took the saying "hanging on by a thread" to a whole new level.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man. I mean, that's my first experience with Roback, but I really like them. I mean, I told you I want the shirt that has crabs and football on it.
Oh yeah,
that'd be like my Saturday shirt.
Yeah, I went to their website after they sponsored us, and they've gone full bore into the NIL world. You got a lot of college athletes in there.
Oh, good. That's pretty cool. The best commercial was the Roback commercial that they had with the old LSU coach. You know who I'm talking about. I did. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What's that guy's name again? I don't know why I can't think.
Hell, they did a good job for the one with Jalen in there too, where he's hitting the goalpost 3 or 4 times in a row.
Help me out. What was the name of that coach? You got to help me out.
Coach O.
Coach O, yeah, Ordron. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, man. Doing like my brain's in like 18 different spots. But did you see that commercial?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're part of that crew now, man. Like book 20 people. All right. Transfer portal. The Tide lost now both Brockermeyers. We had Tommy Brockermeyer transfer out. He was a 5-star. And now what is it? James Brockermeyer is leaving because he did. I guess he's not going to be the starting center.
Yeah.
It's going to be Parker Brailsford. And I don't know how you could have any. You got to have Brailsford as your center. I mean, you brought him from Washington to do that. But your thoughts on that move?
Well, I mean, Brailsford knows all the calls. He understands, how to protect in that offense versus certain formations. I mean, honestly, it makes sense for centers and quarterbacks to follow the coach that recruited them. I think they're more. I don't know if intimate's the right word, but they're positions that require a lot of chemistry with the coach that you play for, and that communication has to be there. You've got guys that, and Brailsford that, understands Coach DeBoer's language, understands what he wants from his center, and it makes sense, and so he can help the O-line at Alabama, while at the same time he's familiar with that offense. And so I completely understand, that move. And it's tough for Brockermeyer. I feel bad for him that it worked out that way, and I hate to see him go. But, and in this day and age, it is what it is at this point,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw where it said, don't contact him, which means he's already got a destination picked out of where he'll end up going. And, and that's, I mean, I'm guessing he was a highly sought after, really his brother more than him, a player, but he did a good job, I thought, in the 8A game, snapping the ball. And, it's a shame that if you don't get the starting job, you leave, but it's just the way that this whole thing works now.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's got to be tough. Young kids in college, I mean, freshmen, sophomores, in college and D1 football right now, those are the guys. It's really got to take a toll on them. That, I mean, every year your position could be filled by somebody that's, I guess a higher echelon player or has more notoriety than you, and he could come in and take your spot at any time. And so, you got to constantly focus and get better. Otherwise, you are going to get replaced.
Curtis Perry, another guy, a 4-star, former 4-star, and a defensive lineman, hit the transfer portal. I didn't really know much about Perry, but I mean, so they lost 2 guys in this window. And you start going through the list. I mean, pretty big list. Remember Tyler Buckner, Eli Holstein, Julian Sand, remember him? Roydell Williams, Isaiah Bond, Malik Benson, Ja'Cory Brooks, Shaz Preston.
I hated to see Brooks go.
Yeah, Theo Jones-Bell, Amari Nyblack, Miles Kitzelman, Seth McLaughlin, Terrence Ferguson, Isaiah Hastings, Anquan Barnes, Monkel Goodwine, Kendrick Blackshire, Sean Murphy, Trey Amos, Earl Little Jr., Antonio Kite transferred to Auburn, Des Ricks, Jameer Grimsley, and
you transfer if you hit the transfer portal. I mean, I hate to see you go. If you hit the transfer portal and go to Auburn, it's like, all right, see you later.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Caleb Downs, Kristen Story, and Jake Pope. So that's the list of guys, kind of just going through it. But I'll tell you what, man, it was, I think, huge for Alabama to go out and replace Will Reichard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. If there's anything we've learned over the years, under Coach Saban's tenure, and I don't, missed field goals can change. One missed field goal can change the entire outlook of your season. And the kicking position may be, it's, to me, top 5 most important positions on the field. You're not out there long, but it is some of the most key moments in the game. And, that's a position that I see being really, really hot in the transfer portal. I wouldn't think it's hard to recruit a kicker. Can you make a 60-yarder? Okay, you're good.
You need the guy Graham Nicholson makes all the kicks, right? He's missed like one extra point out of almost 30 or something, and and then all the field goals he made. He missed 2 kicks all last year, so it's more than just having confidence that the guy can go out there and hit it. He had 27 of 28 field goals, 35 of 37 extra points, so he missed 2 extra points.
Yeah.
But you're right. And you've been on the sideline. What's it like when you have to rely on a kicker in these big football games?
Man, well, when I was my senior year, we had Adam Griffith, and I don't think I don't want to mess up his story or make any wrong comments, but I know that he faced a lot of adversity when he was young. He's not from the States. Moved to Georgia, and again, don't want to get into specifics of nothing that he.
Where's he from? Like Bulgaria or something?
Yeah, something like that. Just, had a hell of a journey to get to Alabama, and so I think in big moments of the game, he was just ice cold. That the onside kick against Clemson, I could not have thrown a better ball than he kicked to Marlon Humphrey.
Did you know that was coming?
No, had no idea. I was sitting on during special teams, the quarterbacks are doing their own thing. We never watch film of special teams. You have no idea really what's going on. Unless you're a holder, which I was not a holder. And so, I wasn't involved in any of the film.
You could have if you needed to be, but you just didn't need to be.
Yeah. I was asked to be, and I for some reason, just never showed up to do it. So I was going to let Cooper handle that one.
Did you ever hold?
I held in high school.
What would it have been like when you got your finger kicked? Did that happen?
In high school? I don't think so. We had pretty good kickers in high school, but you holding for a young guy that's never kicked before. It's kind of like playing Russian roulette. You never know what's going to happen to your fingers.
He made that kick. I'll never forget it, man. Being in the dome and watching that, and just that being one of the biggest plays in national championship game history, really. To roll the dice like that.
We had just kicked a field goal, and so we're sitting on the sideline, and Lane was about to sit down and talk to us, and he goes, "All right, y'all don't make a scene, but we're about to onside kick this." And about right when he said it, it was like the ball just went up in the air in slow motion, and I was like, "Oh my God," And then Marlon caught it, and we're all grabbing each other like, "Oh my, holy shit!" Can you?
Yeah, right. Can you even do this?
I know. And then you saw Dabo just losing his mind. Which that was an argument I never understood, that your guy has to have an opportunity to receive the ball. Do you remember that?
But I don't know. I didn't know what the rule was.
Yeah, apparently, it makes sense that is not a rule, and apparently it's not. So
yeah. Well, it's really the only time I've ever seen that done before.
Yeah, I think that got a little trendy. That kind of, I don't know, kick it and skip it, one bounce, all the way. I guess you can be more accurate doing it that way, but
wonder how long he practiced that.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. But I tell you what, you know, it's so funny. We'd be on the practice field, and Coach Saban would get so mad. He'd be, you know, standing behind practice, and then, you know, you'd see him look around, and there's apartments that, you know, outside the fence where you could see over the fence and watch practice. And they were building new apartments, and then all of a sudden somebody'd be standing on the porch, and he'd be like, "Hey, get those guys out of here!"
Would he make them go inside?
It's like the security's putting their fingers in their ear, and it's like, you got to go inside.
Golly, man, he was so paranoid about everything.
Oh yeah, well, can you imagine it? So, you know. And I wouldn't put it over their heads. Some of the stories I've heard about what's done to get signals or to get info or, you know, intel, if you want to call it that, on what's going on with other schools. I mean, you know, obviously Coach Saban thought it was an issue, thought it could be a problem. So, you know, he's heard a lot of stories.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, imagine if, you know, somebody had been sitting on that balcony and watching Adam kick, you know, faking that or kicking that onside kick over and over again. I mean, that'd be a red flag, you know?
Yeah. That's funny. Well, the transfer portal is not closed yet, and I feel like Alabama still could use some help in the secondary. You know, the big one has been the kicker. You know, obviously Proctor's back, but it's been pretty quiet so far. Do you think that they're going to make a move or two before the thing closes? It's a 15-day window. So you're talking about what it opened up on last Tuesday. So you still got a little time left.
Yeah. No, I think there'll be a late push still. You know, guys that are, you know, I don't know if they're going to start doing the treating the transfer portal kind of like signing day, you know, where they make it a big show and pick a hat if they're waiting, you know, to create, you know, to create a scene. But I would imagine there's some guys that are holding out just to, you know, make a decision, which, you know, is kind of crazy doing that the second go around. But yeah, I would imagine there's going to be a late push, and they're still trying to get guys. I mean, there's no telling who they're talking to and behind closed doors, and guys that you know haven't mentioned going into the transfer portal. But once you get a call from Alabama, you know, it's hard to say no to that.
Yeah, right. It's different than when Nick Saban was doing it though, too, right?
That's right. But man, if you're a receiver, you're an offensive guy, you know, it'd be hard to not want to go play in that system in the SEC.
Yeah,
I hear you. I mean, you got to think the guys that saw that spring game. I mean, that was almost like 07-ish. You know, all the people there. I mean, there were more people at that game than Washington had at real games last year.
Oh yeah.
You know, that environment is so infectious. It's hard to beat. And guys that go there in person, I don't know how you don't, you know, take that leap.
No, I hear you. And you know, talking about what's going on in the program right now, you know, we mentioned that you're going to be throwing in the mullet toss, which I just want to remind you, my longest throw is 118 feet. So you know, we'll see what you got.
I hear the wind's going to be pretty strong. So if I don't beat that, I'll obviously have a headwind.
You'll have a head experience. You know, I mean, not to brag, but you know, I mean, I also placed third one year, you know, which is medaled pretty much. But it's Perdido Beach Resort on Saturday. This Saturday at 2:00, you got Coach DeBoer, Coach Oates, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, and Ryan Williams. And you talked about that. Those guys are going to be there. And there's packages that you can buy, but it's $90 for general admission. And this is all part of Yay, Alabama. I mean, this is where college football is right now. Gates doors open at 1:30. There's a silent auction, but this is how you're going to have to go out and raise money. They're down here. Then they're going to be, Huntsville. I mean, they're going to be around the state. I saw there were 3 spots. I forget where.
I think Grant Nelson's going too.
Okay, yeah.
I'm almost certain he's going too.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
He's he said he wanted more NIL money. He better go earn it.
Yeah, right. You better get out there, hit the streets.
Yeah. These guys, hey, they're going to have to realize what the hustle takes,
Yeah. How do you feel about that? I mean, if you were a player, would you mind doing that?
I think it's great for them. Honestly, they need to be doing more of that and realize that getting out, networking, meeting people is part of life, especially after ball. So, hopefully all those guys will do well in the NBA, the NFL, all that. But, if it doesn't work out, they're going to have to get out there and humble themselves and figure out how to hustle and do well outside of sports. So I think it's great for them to be exposed to it. I wish I was when I was in college a little more in a way that, I realized that's how you had to earn money.
Right.
And, not that I didn't realize that, but I didn't, understand, how much of that and how much effort you have to make in order to produce. And so I think it's good for these guys to realize that, how to market themselves and how to be professional and make people want to pay them, because it's going to take these athletes, no matter, there's a certain percentage of the fan base that believes, these guys need to get paid and I'm going to do my part and do that. There's a percentage of the fan base that says, these guys need to get paid. And then, they realize, oh, I got to pay, It's like, that's how it's going to have to work.
For right now, anyway.
If you want to be, competitive. And then there's a certain percentage that are like, these college kids don't need to get paid at all. And you're just not going to get help there. So in order to change that perception, these guys are going to have to get out there and market themselves and turn this into a scenario in which more of the fan base wants to give and wants to support them and wants to pay them and give them opportunities outside of sports. And they're going to have to get involved in doing that. And it's going to take an effort in the state of Alabama to do that. That's part of it. And I think it should be that way. You got to go earn your money on and off the field. And so, again, I think it's a good lesson learned for them. And I wish I'd have had the opportunity to go market myself in college and make a little extra money.
Yeah, I could see you being a guy that maybe put your name behind a really good turkey call. I just could see you doing it.
Man, there was a Twitter handle. Let's see. Back when I was playing, it was called Coker Deep Ball. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but had there been NIL around back in that day, I would have been. He would have been my marketing guy.
You guys would have teamed up.
We'd have made some money.
Did you figure out who the Coker Deep Ball was?
No, I haven't. I mean, the stuff he tweets is just hilarious. Here's a tweet. Real story. One time, Greg McElroy went to bed hungry after being defeated by the lid of a jar of mayonnaise. I mean, that's just the first one I read. No offense to Greg, but now I'm starting to see it's all directed at Greg.
Oh, is it? How old are these?
These are from 2016, and I don't know why he's saying this from 2016.
I don't know either.
Because
if he saw the future.
Because if McElroy was trapped in a glass house with a brick, he died of starvation. Again, that's just the first thing I pulled up. I don't know why. I mean,
yeah,
that's just funny.
pretty funny stuff.
Shank posted a couple pictures of me and him at my wedding, and he's talking about me wearing a wedding ring, and this Twitter, he forged both rings in his powerful right hand.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Oh God.
The NFL draft, some people probably will have watched this by the time that the draft has taken place. So let's hold off on really talking draft, but let's talk about Kool-Aid McKinstry. Last thing, Kool-Aid made some comments I thought were interesting.
Hey, but real quick before you
throw it out there for us.
Happy birthday, Jacob Coker. Happy birthday to the deep ball. It's just so funny.
Oh man, that is pretty hilarious. All right, this is from Kool-Aid. He was on RG3's podcast, and I want you to think about this. He says, we are the last class Saban didn't have to worry about, right? He's telling RG3 this. So the last class he really didn't have to worry about guys asking for money and stuff like that coming out of high school. People worry about the wrong things. I thought that this was, I agree with him. I mean, that's the last of the, recruiting classes that took advantage of the process and, kind of what that meant instead of, he said that they were asking his wife constantly how much money they were going to get. And we have a system right now that has no, checks and balances. And, it's kind of crazy to think like, having covered Kool-Aid coming out of Pinson and then, going to college at Alabama and having a lot of success, kind of what that looks like now, Yeah,
he's dead on. I don't know who was asking for money and which classes were which, but what these kids don't realize is, people are going to give money. I've always said a lot of these kids are going to realize what they're not worth, and I don't mean that. I mean that completely from the perspective of return on investment from people donating the money.
Right.
Like, you're going to pay a guy out of high school and you don't even really know the guy yet. You've never seen him practice. You've never seen him work out. You've never seen him play. You don't know how he's going to respond on the college level in the SEC. You're going to guarantee this guy $50,000, $100,000, and then he can just up and leave the next year. He hadn't produced or provided any value to your organization yet.
Yeah.
To even sit there and ask for anything before you've even shown up. I mean, what level of delusion do you have to do that?
Right.
You are, Ryan Williams he did a lot in terms of bringing publicity to Alabama through his commitment and signing with Alabama. He provided value there and getting the momentum going for Kalen DeBoer. But outside of him, I don't know who you pay before they show up on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that provided value, and I could see why, you would offer money to that guy. But these guys just asking for money and without anybody knowing who they are yet, or they haven't played a snap. I mean, you got to get in there and put your head down and get to work, and then the money comes when you play well and you create a name for yourself and create value for yourself.
Right.
But again, in turn, monetarily, you are worthless before you show up on that campus. And like I said, a lot of these guys, I refuse to believe that these people paying all this money are going to continue to pay for guys that just show up, get paid, and leave.
Right.
I don't know how you do that. I wouldn't do it if I had all the money in the world.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a principle thing. You expect me to pay you, yet you're not going to have any allegiance to this organization or any loyalty to your teammates and your coaches.
Yeah.
And it leads back to the guarantees. How am I going to guarantee you money if you're not going to guarantee me a certain number of years here?
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, the system's got to be fixed.
And in that contract, show up on time, work out, do what you're supposed to do, listen to your coaches, and follow the processes in place, that were established by your coaches. If you're going to hold that standard, if you're going to stick to that standard and uphold those values, then yeah, we'll guarantee some money. But it's just a bad teaching moment in college football. Or college in general, college sports.
Yeah, college sports. Well, basketball, let's finish with basketball. We kind of have to wrap it up on this episode here. But it's been 6 different players now transferred off of the team that went to the Final Four, which is crazy to me, because isn't the reason that you do this because you want to win a championship and there's a team that you guys got that close, maybe one team better? But then again, it's like that's kind of how this works. I mean, it's been like that for a lot of teams. Look at Kentucky, look at Duke, look at Tennessee's lost some guys. I mean, that I don't understand why we allow the system to be one where these guys are exploiting it by basically transferring and then starting a bidding war for themselves. And I'm not talking about just Alabama, I'm saying in general.
Yeah. Well, with the transfer portal and success, this is what you're going to see. No allegiance to the program, just a lack of appreciation for winning in the position that you were put in by the people that brought you there.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew it was coming. College basketball. I said this about the one and done stuff. You get guys in that play for 1 year and get out. It's hard to establish structure and culture and fluidity in a program when you got new guys in the locker room every year. And so now every team in the country is going to see this. It's going to be mass chaos. You are going to have smaller schools win more games. It's going to be a more even playing field, I believe. But at the same time, the best schools in the country are going to get the best recruits and the best transfers. I mean, Nate Oates has already got the guy from Auburn, the guy from USF. Had one of the best recruiting classes in the country. So these guys are looking over their shoulder nonstop. And, in that space, I hate it for the players in that space as well. Just because, again, there's no guarantee from your coach that somebody's not going to come in and replace you. But when you add the money to it, I'm going to hate to see that team roll out next year and not have Chris Pringle and Rylan Griffin and was it Mbakwe? Am I saying it right?
Wagyu, yeah. Mo.
You just one of the best years in recent memory, and you want to remember those guys for the plays they made and where they got us. Built a legacy at Alabama, and it just kind of looks like you don't care at the end of the day.
One thing they did is they have forced us in a good way to cover basketball. Yeah. And I've never covered basketball more in my career because there wasn't a whole lot of interest in it. Now there is, because I think everybody realizes that this program has a chance to win a national championship. And to those guys, I take my hat off for getting there, but you're going to regret not taking advantage of the opportunity to play together and see what you could have done if you put the work in for one more year. wherever you might go. And the money's there, whatever. But I'll tell you what.
I hope we can raise NIL money for basketball. Obviously there's not enough players. There's not enough mouths to feed. I mean, not as many mouths to feed as you have in football. I can't imagine managing that on a football roster in college. But, the Kansases, the Kentuckys, the big basketball powerhouse schools with big fan bases, and that's their main sport. It's going to be tough to compete with those guys. If you got guys getting recruited by those schools, there's probably going to be a lot of money in the background waiting on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your primary focus is basketball, and you don't have many mouths to feed, like I said earlier. So those guys are going to be looking at a lot of money. So it's going to be tough to compete unless we, put our money where our mouths are and back Nate Oates.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it for us. I'll see you Saturday at the Mullet Toss. Depending if I have time, maybe I'll go one-on-one with you and see. I'm already a bronze medalist though from 2001.
Yeah, you're Michael Phelps.
I've already kind of been there, done that. I do love the international mullet toss. But I'll tell you, if that wind's coming at you at about 20 knots, don't expect that fish to go very far.
Yeah.
Unless you have an arm like me. Then you can.
I was watching the news this morning. They said it may get up to 40 miles an hour out there. So I'm just going to have to make sure I'm throwing with the wind.
They said 40 miles an hour?
Oh, yeah.
On Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Won't be taking the boat.
Nah. No,
probably leaving it right here.
You'll be like Gilligan.
End up like Smiley. Or Smelly. Just be way out on the way to Mexico. I'm glad they found him though. Yeah. We were talking about him like the week before, and then
well we can laugh about it now.
Yeah, I thought he was not coming back. I mean,
man,
you don't get really sucked out in the kayak and make
that's Parker. That's Parker Barronow's brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Parker was a wide receiver at Alabama when I was there. Great guy. One of those walk-on guys that got a scholarship. So that says enough about his character right there. But great family, man. That the Smellies are,
class people,
top-notch people, and I just can't even imagine man. I saw that picture of him with his family when he got back, and you could tell his wife was just distraught and just getting over it, trying to get over it. His kids were kind of teary-eyed. It was so sad, but so
it's not too soon. It's not too soon. He made it. Must have been embarrassing.
His family, at least the men in his family, are giving him nonstop.
I saw the Coast Guard helicopter. It was like I saw the video. Somebody sent it to me. It was like, man, I wonder if he realizes he has to now, but I wonder if at the time he realized like how effed he was out there.
Oh my God. Man, being out in the water, in the open water like that is one of my biggest fears. I mean, just being stuck in the water is got to be the most helpless feeling out there.
You're trying to paddle, but it ain't going anywhere.
No. I mean, at that point, you just got to give up and hope the water takes you in the right direction.
Or learn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, you got to catch a raft headed to Miami.
Yeah, you might end up somewhere in the Yucatan Peninsula or whatever it is. I'm not even close. Somebody's going to tell me I'm in the wrong continent. All right. Anyway, look, this was fun. Next time, let's get together early next week. I'll see you on Saturday. I don't know if you're around. You got to jump on the.
I'll jump on
Ryan. Floribama.
Me and Ryan will jump in for a little bit.
You ever been on Floribama's podcast before?
No, never done anything in there outside of,
Drinking beers and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be there. We'll be out there on Saturday. And what do you guys? Do you guys have to go to the? Are you going to the event, or are you just going to hang out at the Floribama?
I think we're just. I talked to Paul yesterday. Just planning on getting there around 10:00 and hanging out. I got to come back for a wedding, so I'll be headed back to Mobile around 1 o'clock. But come down there and hang out a little bit, throw a mullet or two.
All right. Well, it'll be good to see you guys, and then we'll get back together. Let's say Monday. Let's get back here Monday and break it all down. The draft, the mullet toss. It's a high stakes mullet toss for you. You got to get past 118.
No, yeah. If I don't, well, I can just tell you this: if I don't get 118, you're going to think I did.
I'm going to be standing right there. I'm going to look. You're the thing is, man, is like you're a high profile athlete. I'm just a host.
Right.
And I mean, like you got a Twitter handle that just talks about how strong your arm is, and you were in the NFL, so 118 feet for you is going to be like probably a piece of cake.
I got a feeling this is going to be one of those. There's an art to throwing the mullet, though, and
I told you that.
I'm sitting here thinking, hold the tail.
Please hold the tail. Please.
Yeah, I don't know if you're trying to sabotage me here or not.
I mean, just I'm going to be serious with you because we are friends, and I want you to beat my mark from 2021.
Yeah, okay, I know. Yeah,
2021. And if you hold the tail and throw it, you will not do it. You've got to fold the fish, and then up here you got to release it. You got to release it like you're looking for Ardarius Stewart in the back of the end zone, 60 yards downfield. It's got to be a Hail Mary type throw. You try to throw that fish like it's a boomerang, it's going to go up and come straight down.
Yeah, all right. I'll figure it out.
All right, brother. Well, great job. Always love hanging out with you guys. Again, let me remind you a couple of things as far as the people that make the show possible. MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND on that initial wager, and they'll do a price match up to 50% to $1,000. That's a good one. Lance's Lock, our guy Lance Taylor, lanceslock.com, helping you get all the picks figured out. NBA playoffs are going right now. You got the Major League Baseball season underway, including the Cubs. As banged up as I know all you guys care, as banged up as the Cubs are, they just continue to win. And he'll help you out with that. And then finally, and I say this finally in a way where you say last but not least, we are huge Rowback guys now. Rowback.com, promo code BOOK20. After our draft, we've been now wearing the gear. And you guys can do the same. You get 20% off that first order with Book20. So take advantage of it. And, and I'm telling you, the clothes are great.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to love them.
They really are.
All right, Jake, roll Tide, man.
Roll Tide.